Welcome, welcome, welcome to another episode of This Is Me Attitude Podcast. With me, your one and only host, Rachel Hills. I'm just a girl in my 20s trying to figure this crazy life out and bringing you along the way, every step of the way. And I've got some awesome topics to talk to you about today, and I cannot wait to jump in. But first, let's catch up. It has been a minute since I've recorded a podcast, and honestly, I'm kind of sad that I haven't because I've really been in my head, and I know that I've said that on different episodes, but I just really have just been all over the things. A lot of things came up in my personal life that I was just like, nobody would want to hear from me, blah, 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 blah. Not true, not right. But things that have happened in the last few months since I haven't been on here is this is probably my second episode that I've recorded that we have lived in Texas. We've been here since July. I love it so far. It's been so much fun, and we've had a lot of learning experiences, and I highly, highly, highly recommend anybody that wants to move to a different state. If you're in the U.S., do it. Do it when you're young. Do it before you have kids if you can, because I did that, and it was awesome. And I also wanted to mention that my journey with God has grown a lot since we've moved here. And now that I am moving forward with the podcast, I do want to put out a little disclaimer that moving forward, I will be talking more and more about my faith. So if that's not your jam, totally understand. At this point, you might not want to keep listening. But I just wanted to let that be known and to really say that I'm not afraid to talk about my faith anymore. And to have this as a reminder to everybody that is a Christian and does want to talk about their faith in God, you can. We're supposed to. And I apparently wasn't taking a breath there, so un momento, por favor. But we are supposed to be disciples. We are supposed to go out and tell the good news of God. And I, for the longest time, was terrified of doing that, was like, oh, well, everybody has their own belief, and like they don't want to hear mine, and I don't want to push it down anybody's throat, and this and that. I'm not telling you that you have to be a jerk about it and say like, no, you're doing this, and you have to listen to him, and da-da-da. Like that is not okay. But you can go and say, well, this is what I believe, and that's totally okay for you if you don't, but like this is what I do. And I felt more and more comfortable to do that. And that also brings me to today's topic. And today's topic is get over yourself. Plain and simple. If you're in a bad mindset, if you are in a bad time of life, if you're in a not great season, get over yourself and keep moving on. And I really talked about this on my Instagram today because it has been a topic that has been really big to me, and I just had this realization of I've been really in the muck of like, oh, this happened to me that I couldn't control and I'm so upset, and this happened to me that I couldn't control and I'm so upset. There's no reason to be upset about different things that you cannot control. There's a lot of things in life that we cannot control, but that doesn't mean that we can let our mindset and our attitude that we can control go down the spiral. So to dive more into that, I have 3 different topics within the big topic of get over yourself that I wanted to go through. Now, those 3 points that we're going to cover are 1, the world does not revolve around you. 2, saying poor me and having a crap mindset isn't helpful. 3, no action isn't helping. Now, let's dive in to the 3 different sections in more detail. It's time to take a quick business break and to explain to you that business that I run online in case you're interested and want more information about it. I wanted to bring this onto the podcast because it is another thing that I'm working very, very, very much on and love and am very, very passionate about. So the online business, it is with a high ticket product, and I run everything offline, meaning that you don't have to go into work. You can work whenever you would like. It's all on automation, which means that we have ads that run in the background for us. We have a whole platform set up to teach you exactly from having no idea what to do to running it all the way through and having a very, very, very successful business. My goal with this business is to be full-time in it, along with being a podcaster, as I obviously am here. And if you want more information about that, please reach out to me on Instagram. My handle is @RachelFunHills, and I will talk to you there. Now, diving into topic number 1, which is the world does not revolve around you. I know, it's so sad to think the world doesn't revolve around you. So sad. No, God created the world. That means that it revolves around him, because without him, we would not be here. And if you are a Christian, that's the basis of being a Christian, and that is what I believe, and that is why I'm saying it. And that does not mean that he doesn't love you, because he does. That does not mean that you're bad, because you're not. It simply means that the entire world that has billions of people does not revolve around one person. Second thing I wanted to mention in that is we are just a small bit of the world. Like I said, there is billions and billions of people on this planet. That does not mean that we're not all individuals and all great in our own ways and all the things, but again, does not revolve around one person. And there's topic number 1, all set. Topic number 2, and possibly my favorite one, if you have a crap mindset, it's not going to be good. Your mindset, that thing in your head called your brain, needs to be on your side. Let me say that again. Your mind needs to be on your side. If you are saying horrible things to yourself in your mind, if you are letting the devil come out and say, oh, this is horrible, oh, this is horrible, oh, that's horrible, it is not going to be good. It is not going to work in your favor. You are going to get all in your head and say, well, I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't get out of bed today, I can't, whatever. Mind you, when I'm saying this, if you have depression or anxiety or anything like that that is medically differently, that is a completely different story, and that is not what I'm talking about here. I mean that if you are set out for a goal and you're like, yes, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and then all of a sudden it switches and saying, oh my gosh, I have too much fear, I can't do this, I can't do that. That is a crap mindset. That is something that you can change. That is also something that is talked about in my online business a lot, and we have a whole setup situation for that. That's a whole different side tangent, but mindset is so important. You need to have a great mindset, a awesome mindset to move forward in any goal, any aspect, anything that you want to succeed in life. With mindset and talking about faith in God, I did want to read some scripture to point out that worrying and having a bad mindset is not going to help you. And with that, I'm going to be reading from Luke 12:22, and this is out of NIV. That is my favorite version so far. So here we go. It says, "Then Jesus said to his disciples, 'Therefore I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat, or about your body, what you will wear. For life is more than food, and the body more than clothes. Consider the ravens. They do not sow or reap. They have no storeroom or barn, yet God feeds them. And how much more valuable are you than birds?'" It goes on to say in 12:25, "Who of you by worrying can add a single hour to your life?" And the reason that I point that out is because if you are worrying and so upset about all the different things that could happen, that did happen, that, oh my gosh, what if that happens 2 years from now, and that goes into your mindset, that is not going to help you. And it literally says in the scripture that do not worry, because that's not going to add any time to your life. That's not going to add any helpfulness to your life. I also want to mention that I tend to worry a lot. So when I say all these things, I'm pointing the finger at me as well. I'm not saying like, oh, I'm perfect and I read the Bible every day and I just do everything that God says and woo, woo, woo. No, I'm just as much of a sinner as anybody else and just as much learning this as anyone else. All right, let's jump into topic number 3. No action isn't helpful. Zero action means zero results. Plain and simple as that. If you do not work for your goals, if you do not work for work, if you do not work for whatever you're working at, there is not going to be any results in that category, in that aspect of your life. And I feel like sometimes us as humans just get it so like discombobulated and so jumbled up in our heads, if that's the correct way of saying it, that we overanalyze it and we're just not seeing the simple things of, oh my gosh, if I don't work at this, it's not going to grow. Or if I don't put the seeds in for that plant, the plant is not going to grow. And it's just as simple as that. Disclaimer, if you hear a weird noise in the background, my cat Striker is here and she's purring really, really loud, and I'm really hoping it doesn't come on the recording. Anyways, let's jump in to more scripture reading, because I really think that this will be another beneficial thing to you as well. I just want to make sure that I'm reading the right passage. All right, so I'm in Colossians, and it is 3:23, and it says, "Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart, as working for the Lord, not for human masters, since you know that you will receive an inheritance from the Lord as a reward. It is the Lord Christ you are serving." Whew, that is a lot to take in and a lot to decompress. And the reason that I him bringing that on to today's topic is because as a Christian, you are supposed to work for the Lord. That means that he's literally telling you to work. He is not telling you to be lazy. He is telling you to go after the calling that he's put on your heart to work. And with one of that being the biggest callings of going and getting and being a disciple and telling other people about God. So that is another thing that I am definitely working on and I'm not perfect at and am moving forward with. Another quick thing I wanted to mention about the section of no action isn't helping. I do firmly believe that if it has been put on your heart, if you have the idea of doing it, you're supposed to do it. If you have the idea of building a business, if you have the idea of building a different kind of business, if you have the idea of being a cat owner, if you have the idea of owning a castle, if you have the idea of anything, I do firmly believe that you're supposed to do it and that God is telling you that that is what he would like you to do. It could change throughout your life, but I do really believe that whatever's on your mind is there for a reason, that you should go for it. To go over those 3 main points again. Number 1, the world doesn't revolve around you. Number 2, having a crap mindset is not going to help you. Number 3, no action isn't helpful. And that is the end of another awesome episode. I want to say thank you so much for tuning in for another episode. I cannot thank you enough. I've had so much fun being here with you, and I hope that you get some value out of this. If you do get any value out of this, I would love to hear from you. Hop over on Instagram and message me or tag me in your stories at Rachel Fun Hills, and I will catch up with you soon.